Hello, we are in the ISSP Gallery in Riga, and here is my exhibition Scene. Scene, usually we mean by that a community that gathers around various music gigs in Riga, in underground clubs such as Depo, Republika, sometimes Lastādija, sometimes Admiņu 4, and sometimes there are also specific events like Punk Picnic. And in those events, like young, local bands are performing, and usually that community, it interacts with each other. Usually the bands that are formed, they are also part of the audience, and they are friends, and some people know each other. And of course, the scene is not something, coherent. There are like many smaller maybe communities of people, but at the end of the day, this is what we call a subculture of young people that listen to punk music. Sometimes it's like black metal or metal, hardcore, and so on. So I tend to say they are young punks, but I know that very often they tend to avoid any tags because, of course, tagging or categorizing, this is something what general public do to them in order to give some remarks about their appearance, about their style, and usually, unfortunately, they are negative remarks. So the way this exhibition is organized, you can see that there are my photographs that I took over almost 3 years, because I came to the scene in 2021. And but you also see a lot of drawings here, and those are mainly done by people that are on the pictures. Of course, there are some things that I did it myself, but it doesn't matter. So yes, and I believe this is also kind of a good example how it is not just an exhibition, it's not just an observation from a distance, but also the subjects of my work have become part of the art exhibition, and it is also a platform for their expression. And those who know, during those 2 months that exhibition was here, there were lots of events like poetry, like market, also music and talks. In that way also this becoming sort of like a scene festival. And of course, this is also a good example when we talk about photography and how photography interacts with what we can call street art. And those who know that I'm quite keen on doing Riga Photomonth on streets, especially on our street in the past years, know that I'm quite interested in how photography can co-live with street art, or how it can also become a street art. The way the exhibition is organized, you can of course see mainly portraits. You see also different kinds of situations, sometimes amusing situations, sometimes just like simple portraits. You can see details of people's clothes, of places, and on one level you can say that this exhibition also documents this specific phenomenon. But the further we move, we see that we get more and more images that are containing different kind of elements of body. And I tend to say that body is the only thing that those young people owe. They usually don't have anything else. And of course the body becomes also as a kind of platform for their creativity, of course. When we look especially at the clothes they dress, sometimes even tattoos, but also the body becomes as a form of protest. And of course, a lot of people also have asked me, all those young people, sometimes yes, they call them young punks, what are they protesting against? And I tend to say that if you look at the history of punks, of course, we think that very often it's specific political policies or institutions, but in this case, this is more a kind of protest against growing up, against becoming this kind of, standard citizen of our society. And it is also because, it is of course thanks to the the times we live in, that young people also tend to have a feeling that they can't change the world, you know, that the future is, you know, a little bit doomy, we can say. So on that way, we can say that their bodies, even their antisocial behaviors, or even I would say even the kind of like mosh pits or dancing, aggressive, but also of course the body, the scarring, the tattooing, and as you see, you know, here becomes more images of also blood and so on. That becomes this kind of way of protesting against the system as such. And I also tend to say that the scene is as important as our National Song Festival, which is probably the core element how we define our national identity. Because I believe the scene is about, you know, creativity, it's about future, it's about development, it's about diversity, it's about being together. So kind of those elements that we actually require as a collective, you know, as a nation or as a state or whatever, you know. Those are the things that bring us forward and make us, you know, interesting and cool, even I would say. And you know, those are those elements that define the scene as well. And if you look at the song festival, you know, that's mainly has to be fertilized with money in order to survive. But if you look at the scene, this is something natural. It just happens, and there is, you know, there is no money involved, and it happens because people feel courage to do that. Which at the end of the day also, I believe it's a good news that if you look at our younger generation, we can say that we have future. Thank you.